The dark streets and empty hearts that led me to the light. In the shadows of desire, where the heart beats slow, I found myself adrift at sea, where my passions used to flow. Out there's a house of longing, empty, cold, and vast, where echoes of my past life play out, but none of it will last. A whispered plea, a desperate call, for what was once so sweet, but now I wander empty halls on weary, broken feet. In this room, they speak of want, of needs that never end, yet every touch is hollow, like the love I can't defend. They call it dark, these walls of lust and pride, but I am dry as winter's breath, with nothing left inside. The beat goes on, a rhythm lost, in tangled sheets of fate, but I just watch with tired eyes as my hope begins to fade. She speaks of pleasure, drowning deep, and oceans made of silk, but all I taste are bitter tears, like curdled, spoiled milk. They sing of wealth, of power, and of gold-lined dreams untold, yet here I stand in shadows cast, where everything just feels cold. They say it's dark, this paradise of pain, but all I feel is emptiness, like walking through the rain. The words they fall, like drops of blood, on a heart that's barely there, for all the love that once was bright has turned to deep despair. I've heard their tales of lust so bold, where bodies intertwine, but I am lost in barren lands where none of it feels mine. So let them sing of what they've got, of dark and wild and free, for I am chained to sorrow's song where none of this can be. They call it dark, this fevered, frantic chase, but all I feel is dry and numb, lost in empty space. A narrative of shattered dreams, a life of fleeting touch. I watch it all from far away, where nothing matters much. So here's the truth, in bittered form, a tale of broken trust. For all the good and wealth they seek will one day turn to dust. The dark will fade, the lust will wane, and they will stand alone, in rooms as empty as their hearts, with no place they call home. And so I end this tragic tale of dark and wild and lost, for in this life of fleeting bliss, we all must pay the cost. They call it dark, they call it wild, but I will call it despair, for in the end, all that remains is emptiness in the air. But in the depths of night, where shadows ruled my mind, I wandered through the valleys, where no hope could I find. The streets were cold and empty, the air was thick with fear. For someone in the distance, a voice I longed to hear. As I stumbled in the darkness, where despair had made its bed, with every step a burden, darkness filled my head. But in the dark a light appeared, faint and far away, a beacon in the night, a promise of new day. The light, it drew me closer, though my heart was full of doubt, and as I moved towards it, I began to hear a shout. Not a cry of anguish, but a call so pure and sweet, a voice that said, "Follow me, for your purpose will complete." I fell upon my knees, my soul too tired to fight, and in that very moment, the dark gave way to light. The shadows fled before him as Jesus took my hand. He lifted me from sorrow into a brighter land. No longer bound by chains of fear, no longer lost in night, he wrapped me in his mercy, and he bathed me in his light. The streets that once were empty, now paved with hope and grace, I walked beside my Savior, a smile upon my face. The weight of all my burdens he carried on the cross, and in his resurrection I found all that I had lost. No longer was I broken, no longer full of pain, for in his love I found my strength, my life began again. Now I walk in victory, no longer trapped by fear, for Jesus is my shepherd, his voice is all I hear. He leads me by still waters, through valleys green and wide, and in his gentle presence I have nothing left to hide. The darkness is behind me, a story to be told, of how I found redemption in a love more pure than gold. The streets that once were barren now bloom with life anew, for in his light I'm living, and his promises are true. So if you find yourself in the dark, where hope seems out of sight, remember that his love for you can turn your dark to light. Just call upon his name, and let him lift you high, for in his grace there's healing, and in his truth you will fly. Now my heart sings a victory of life beyond the grave, for in his death and rising, my soul was truly saved. The journey from despair to hope, from darkness into day, is a story of His glory and the power of His way. So rise, my friend, from shadows with the gift of His own grace, and find in Jesus' loving arms your everlasting place. For in the light of Jesus, there's joy beyond compare, and in His resurrection, this sinner's life was spared.